What is going on, everyone? My name's Andy and welcome to another FPL video, and today we're actually just going to jump straight into it. No long intro, so I'm going to take a quick look at how we did in Game Week 10 and then take a look ahead to Game Week 11. So kicking off with this, the Game Week just gone, Game Week 10, got 69 points in total, which would usually be a pretty good week. And you know what, it's not bad, but I did get a red arrow, about 19k to 21.4k, so I'm happy overall with the rank at this stage of the season, but I've not really gone anywhere for 4 weeks, and I want to get into the top 10k as quick as possible because I want to finish, hopefully this season as my best ever. I've got a good platform for that, but I really need to kick on. So let's take a quick look at what happened. It was the kind of week of the no-show, so Hazard was a no-show, thought he would play, obviously the back problems were too much in the end, so he was a captain for a lot of people, so they would have got vice captains in. But he should still be good going forward. Chelsea got some really nice fixtures. Same with Arnautovic. I bought him in for Vardy. I knew Vardy wasn't going to start. And then, yeah, Arnautovic was ill, which was a bit of a pain. It's one of those things. He should be good going forward. We'll have to wait on news on that. Alonso returned and Ryan, both absolute stalwarts in the defence. Alonso finally got some attacking returns. It's been a while, but he's got the fixtures, so hopefully that will continue. And then Matt Ryan in goal, averaging 10 points per game week, which is ridiculous at the moment for the last 3 fixtures. Not going to keep that up, of course, but hopefully because of Brighton's good fixtures, he can get some clean sheets still. Probably not going to get as many saves and bonus points, though, going forward. But we'll see how it happens. Salah got him in for this game week with this one in mind for the captaincy, and Fulham in a couple of game weeks' time. Delivered really nicely, a goal and 2 assists. Even got some bonus points. I was there when Salah got bonus points. Hopefully you were there too. The frustrating thing, obviously, is that Mane did really well as well. So he kind of matched them high ownership, which is probably why players like him and Wilson and Fraser doing well meant the arrow was red for me, even with a score of 69. Aguero hooked at 70. I'm not panicking about it too much at the moment. City got some nice fixtures. I think it's still great that he is the first choice striker. Jesus hasn't started a game at the expense of Aguero yet in the league, so I'm happy with him going forward. And same with Richarlison, not really done much wrong in this forward position where apparently he's rubbish. He's got 1 goal and 1 assist in 3 game weeks, 5 points per game, and he's 5.8 for the season if you take out that game where he stupidly got himself sent off, which is just pretty incredible score really for someone at his price. And they've got, I think, Cardiff and Brighton at home in the next few fixtures, so definitely got to keep him. Then Robertson bench, I was quite happy to see that because I had Trent Alexander-Arnold, but then he didn't get the clean sheet anyway, which was rubbish. Cardiff were just no good. It was so lucky they got that goal. But if you're a Robertson owner, look, it sucks, but you've got the better defender going forward, and he's not going to get benched too often. So wouldn't panic too much about that. But it does make the Liverpool defence a bit harder to pick out. But we'll come on to that in the preview, which we're going to go into now. So one of the key things people are looking at when it comes to Game Week 11 and beyond, obviously a few weeks down the line as well maybe, is a formation change. So looking at putting maybe more money into defence, going 4 or 5 at the back. I think 5 is probably a little bit of a stretch too far because players like Wan-Bissaka probably deserve a place in our squads. Once this kind of next 2 or 3 harder fixtures are out of the way, they've got some nicer fixtures that you maybe want to play him in. So I think he deserves a place in our squad. You're not going to want to play him now. So 4 at the back. I'm potentially looking at switching that because I've got someone like Jimenez up front. And I think him and Ings have kind of dried up a bit. People are worried about Mitrovic. Not 100% convinced that Glenn Murray will keep it up at Brighton. Obviously, Wilson's doing well, but he's about to hit a tricky run of fixtures. And Arnautovic has got maybe a dodgy knee and he's ill at the moment. Should be okay going forward. But there's all these slight concerns here and there with the cheaper strikers. So yeah, I'm potentially looking at downgrading Jimenez. We've got Isaac Success that's played the last 2 games at for Watford. So we could put a bit more money in defence. Obviously, people have got Alonso, looking at Mendy, maybe even a Man City double up. Robertson at Liverpool looks like a really good asset. Doherty, there's nothing bad I can say about him. He's matching Alonso when it comes to attacking stats. So hopefully he can keep that up and get some clean sheets. Spurs at home and Arsenal away in the next 2 for Wolves. So a bit tricky there. But think he can do it going forward with Huddersfield and Cardiff. So I think the key thing here is to just be flexible. Look, if it's not working with 3 up front, sure, move to 4-4-2, move to 3-5-2, whatever it might be. But just remember, it doesn't mean that the striker slots will always be poor for the rest of the season, and you may need to get back on them eventually. I think over Christmas, 4 at the back could be a bit of a cheeky differential because we always talk about players, Man City players, for example, that will score well when they play, so let's not worry about rotation. But there will be players that you'd be very surprised if they get rotated, even over Christmas. I'm thinking like some of the key centre-backs and stuff for different teams. So 4 at the back might not be as bad as it look. And talking about City defensive double-up, Actually found a video today. I don't usually call things that often, but back in Game Week 5, I did a differential video, and one of it was Laporte, and not necessarily bringing him in on his own, but doubling up with Mendy. Now, obviously, Mendy was out for a few games, so it wouldn't have worked that well, but Laporte, since then, has got 6 points every single game week. Man City have conceded 3 goals in 10 games, which is just ridiculous. They've played some really tough teams in that as well. They've got a slightly better fixture on coming up, so Southampton at home, Man United at home, West Ham away, and Bournemouth at home. And to be honest, Bournemouth and West Ham could cause them problems. Man United on their day, yes, but we know what Man United have been playing like, and the game is at home for City. So 3 home fixtures in the next 4. I've not got a Man City defender. I really feel like I need one. I'm looking at bringing in Mendy this week, doing Bennett to Mendy. He had a poor game against Spurs, but I don't think he's going to get dropped. Attacking potential for sure. Clears up on the bonus points, which is one thing Laporte's not great at, is getting bonus points. But 6 points per game for 5.8 million defence is pretty damn good. So both of those are options. I think a defensive double up, then yes, because I'm not really keen on a Man City midfielder because of the amount of rotation. I'm sticking with Aguero for now. So I'd look at maybe one of Laporte or Mendy or both. And even Ederson in goal is providing really good value, so worth looking at. And then talking about West Ham fixture swings, I've already spoken about Arnautovic, but they got a really nice run of fixtures coming up. Burnley at home, Huddersfield away, Man City at home, which is the tough one there, Newcastle away, and Cardiff at home. So I'm looking at a defender from this team. Potentially, if I don't go for Mendy, I may upgrade Bennett to a West Ham defender so I can play them in their good fixtures. Now, they've got quite a few options around the 4.5 million mark. Obviously, Declan Rice is playing in midfield, but more like a CDM, not really taking too many shots. The one that stands out, and it looks a bit knee-jerk now because he's just scored in the last game, is Balbuena. So he's had 8 shots, 8 in the box in the last 4. 12 penalty area touches, only 4.4 million. I'm strongly looking at him. I'm probably going to end up going Mendy just because it's Mendy and I feel like I need him in my team. But if I decide to go cheap and keep some of my money in the bank, I've got 2.5 million right now, then Bennett to Balbuena looks on. So many attempts in the box, a decent run of fixtures coming up. Hopefully they'll get some clean sheets in them as well. I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on. The other defenders just don't match up for attacking returns. So he'd be the one I think I would look at that kind of price point. And then Matt Ritchie, you probably think I'm crazy, but I thought, while I noticed it, I thought I'd put a little bit of a differential in here. So obviously Newcastle everyone knows they got a nice fixture swing coming up. So Watford at home, Bournemouth at home, Burnley away, and West Ham at home. So a nice run of fixtures there. Not really been looking at Newcastle just because they don't look quite, for want of a better phrase, with it on the pitch and maybe even off the pitch as well. There's always stuff going on with Mike Ashley. But Rafa's a great manager. And Matt Ritchie, the reason I noticed him is I checked the stats for the last 2 weeks. And he's, out of all midfielders, had the most shots inside the box, which was 6. He's only created 1 chance, which I was a bit surprised at, because usually you think about him kind of crossing the ball in, set pieces and stuff like that. So only 1 chance created in the last 2. But 6 shots inside the box is decent. So if you wanted a cheeky differential of 5.9 million, I'm going to pick out Matt Ritchie, maybe stupidly, but there we go. What to do with Trent? So I'm probably going to keep him for now. One of the reasons I want to bring in Mendy or Balbuena is so I'm going to bench him this week against Arsenal, see what happens there, then hopefully play him against Fulham when he's going to play. Now, it's really hard to call the Liverpool defence. What was interesting was Gomez missed out, Lovren kept his place, and it was Trent that came in. So it could now be that Trent and Gomez are going to rotate that right-back spot, and Lovren keeps the centre-back spot nailed down like he did last year when he was fit. The only thing to say is, though, Gomez had played pretty much every game, and obviously we saw Robertson get rested, which kind of makes me think that no one is safe, apart from maybe Van Dijk and obviously Alisson in goal. So I still wouldn't want to 100% say with absolute certainty that Lovren is nailed on at this point, but if he starts the next couple and Trent and Gomez keep getting rotated, then he could be the one to go for, and he's the one I got my eye on. I think I've kind of decided to keep Alonso, get Mendy, and just because I can't afford it, go for a cheaper Liverpool defender. Now I hope that's Alexander-Arnold because I've already got him in my team, but I'm looking at potentially bringing in Lovren. But look, if Gomez plays right back or even centre back in the next game, and then they switch it again the one after that, then basically you're going to have to ignore them and go Robertson or Van Dijk. So for me, I'm going to keep him for Arsenal because I don't think he's essential for that game. It's not essential to get Robertson in, for example, either. So I'm going to keep him for now, but he's going to be on the chopping block if he gets rotated too many more times. There's some stuff being brought up on social media, no idea if it's true or not, so that's something to keep an eye out, see what Klopp says about that. But otherwise, I think he's a good asset if he's going to be playing. Is Barkley essential? So loads of people looking at bringing in Ross Barkley. Personally, I think it's a bit of a trap. For a start, he's definitely not nailed on. He's only started, I think, he started 2 of the last 3. And played kind of 80 plus minutes in 2 of them. But out of the last 6 games, he's only started those 2 as well. So obviously he's in good form. Even when he came off the bench 2 game weeks ago, he did well. But it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to start the next game. He's had 3 goals and 3 shots on target. Surely that's unsustainable. But I can see why. Good fixtures and only 5.8 million. Palace at home, Everton at home, Spurs away, Fulham at home. So especially that Fulham game, that stands out. And Palace and Everton, if he plays one of them. Again, people saying, well, if he gets rotated, look, I've got a bench. But I just think for 5.8 million, yes, it's not that risky. And if he does play all 4 of those games, it's great. But Kovacic is there, and he's kind of his main competition. I think maybe there'll be games where Sarri thinks it's better to keep the ball, and maybe Kovacic can do that better than Barkley. I just don't see him as an option at 5.8 million when he's not guaranteed to play. It's too much of a punt for me. Maybe if you're playing daily fantasy or something like that, but in FPL, I'm not going there yet. I could regret it because he's no doubt a player with potential and good talent, but there's just 2 starts in 6 game weeks. There's just no way he can be nailed on, so I'm not going there. And then quickly touch on Bournemouth assets. So a lot of people looking at getting rid. I'm wondering whether to bring them in now. If I've got them, I keep them because they're just in such good form. If you've not got them, I think you leave them. Man United at home, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, Man City away. To me, that just is too tough a fixture period, even for someone like Bournemouth that's done so well. So Wilson, looks great, but I just can't bring him in with those fixtures. Even with Man United and Arsenal not doing well defensively, you just got to think they're going to be tricky games to pick points up in. I'm a bit bitter about Wilson because they took him out at the wrong point in time. But I would look to bring him back in when they get better fixture run. But for now, I think if you've got them, absolutely you can keep them. Why wouldn't you? They've done so well for you. But if you've not got them, time to go. And then lastly, looking at captain. For me, I'm probably going to go for Hazard. We're going to have to wait on news about him. It looks like he's going to play in the weekend, but not during the week. Obviously, Aguero is an option. We're going to have to see what happens in the Carabao Cup. I'm having to record this before that happens. He's probably going to get rested, in which case he'll start against Southampton. So it's really kind of 70 minutes Aguero versus potentially 80, 90 minutes Hazard. I think Crystal Palace is probably the tougher game. So I may switch to Aguero. I think they're the real 2 options this week. But Hazard's been in such great form. He's on penalties as well, like Aguero. And Chelsea have just been brilliant in the last few weeks. So right now I've got on Hazard because I think he's going to play longer. Because he's just coming back from injury, is a little bit of a risk there. He could get reduced minutes. So I may switch back to Aguero, who, yes, he hasn't scored too many goals in recent times, but he has played a few tough away fixtures. So a great home game. I fully expect a goal, maybe even 2 in that game. So I could switch back. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll leave it there. I tried to make it a bit shorter this time. I don't think I succeeded. But there we go. That's game week 11 from me. If you've got any other questions for stuff that I've missed out, let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Always appreciate it. And subscribe if you're new around here. Otherwise, I'll leave it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe. All that good stuff. And I'll catch you later. Cheers all.